Good morning, ladies. I hope everybody is well and enjoying the weather, whatever part of the world that you are in. Today, we're going to be talking about politics, the politeness, and the power in reviving our etiquette and how we do this with our stylists, manicurists, makeup artists, whatever it is, whoever provides us a service. So how we can get better service and have a good relationship. The second one that we will be dealing with is, oh gosh, wardrobe focal points. You know, focal points is a pretty fundamental aspect of your wardrobing because from there then you plan everything else. So we're going to touch on that, and then of course we're going to do our Q&A, and I have some questions from people that will be answered, plus answers from you people watching out in YouTube land. So let's get right into it. Power, politeness, and politics. A constant theme that affects everyone is our personal power. We often give it away in all kinds of ways, and too often to our hairdressers or makeup artists or stylists, where we haven't researched their skill, or we truly don't know what our face shape is like, our hair strengths and weaknesses, in order to dialogue with them in a way that gets full impact. Not thoroughly understanding our own beauty needs, or our lives for that matter, leaves us vulnerable to other people putting on to us what they think works for us. So, from a political perspective, there will always be differing opinions on, well, just about everything. The trick is to respect those differing opinions while not subjugating your own, and yet still keeping an open mind for something better. So when looking for a new look or hairstyle, when we bring the knowledge about ourselves to the table to discuss with our stylist, we can have a good in-depth look at what works best for us specifically. And we either agree or we politely thank them for their input and then direct them as to what we want. Now, when we meet resistance in any situation, like our hairdresser or a family friend or colleague over emerging gray hair, or anything else for that matter, it has become almost fashionable and oh so tempting to personally attack, name call, or be generally rude. And of course, there's also the old standby of a fawning passive-aggressive comment. And it's especially easy when everyone else is queuing up these days to get the best shot in. In fact, it's become like a kind of contest, in my opinion. So this certainly isn't a recipe for politeness, and it doesn't serve us politically in our relationships, and it definitely diminishes our own personal power. So, being conscious of these factors, how can we polish up our approaches? Well, 1, showing respect is always a good way to go. You don't, because you respect somebody's opinion or showing them respect, it doesn't mean that you agree with their opinion necessarily, or you might, but you don't have to agree in order to be respectful. Number 2, don't exaggerate the other person's statements or conclusions. You know, it's so easy to fall into that trap of, well, the fish story. Well, the fish, you caught a fish this big. Well, it was really, well, you can't see my hands, right? Or it was even this big, or it was this big. When you don't exaggerate anything with anybody, you always tell the truth. You never get mixed up in your stories, and you just come out better in the end. And number 4, express yourself in a way that gets your point across respectfully. It's hard to do when you're meeting resistance. Believe me, I know. But when you hold firm, yet respectful, and you actively listen when it's the other person is saying something, you actively listen to them and look at them like you're really taking in what they're saying, they will have a tendency to give that back to you. So it just fuels a much better relationship. And number 5, don't engage in hostile words coming back at you. If somebody's really being rude, or your hairdresser saying, well, you don't know, or whatever, could be any number of things, or it could be a comment from a family friend, or your hairdresser about if you want to embrace your natural gray hair, any number of things. When there's rudeness on their part, you can simply declare after a couple of times, stating that let's have a better dialogue here, or whatever your words are. Instead of giving back nastiness, just declare that you're leaving the conversation, or you're stepping out, or whatever it is, and then simply do it. It's following through half the time that makes the big, big difference. So, what's the bottom line? Whether you're a stylist, or whether with your stylist, I should say, or your manicurist, a dermatologist, a retailer selling you makeup product, or providing a service, remember that you are responsible for knowing what you want, what works for you, what your hair, skin, or face shape needs are, along with your budget and any special needs and causes, like the environment and so on. Now, when you are asking their opinion because you aren't sure for yourself, ask them why they think a certain look or approach they are recommending for you is good. Get them to detail why they think that that's working for you. This way, it also makes them double check why they are recommending what they are. So both approaches solidify your decision-making power. It removes any potential mistakes which can negatively affect politically, and both of you come away having enjoyed a polite interaction. So, that's it from my perspective. Do we have any questions about how to improve the relationship that you have with your stylists? Good morning, Mary Ellen. Is there anybody that has anything to say, or any questions about that? Is there been a situation where you've had a difficulty with one of your stylists over something that you haven't been able to work through so that both of you are feeling good about the situation? Well, I don't see anything. So I think that being the case, then, we will move along to wardrobe. Now, focal points for wardrobe. Focal points is anything that draws the eye's attention. It can be a clothing detail like pockets or pleats, a certain color, accessories, a pattern on one of your items of clothing. Now, there's two approaches to the focal point aspect. One is having a monochromatic look. Dressing in a monochromatic way allows for the face and the hair to be your focal point. And it allows whatever you want to have the person's eye focus on go there. As an example, in business, you dress in darker clothing so that your face is your focal point, because you want to communicate and you want them to pay attention to your eyes and your lips, which are your focal point. So you would dress that way for that purpose. Or If you're going through weight changes that you want to cover up, that's another way of doing it too, dressing monochromatically. And it doesn't mean that you have to dress in darker shades. Monochromatic means everything that you have on is in the same color family. So that's so that's what a monochromatic look is. Now, on the other hand, strong clothing, color, and or detail can also become the focal point and draw attention away from the face and eyes. If that's your aim, that's the route to go. And you can do that with pattern, with varying different colors, etc. The object, you want to in this case, you would want to accent your assets and minimize your weaknesses. This is usually understood, but it's often ignored. So think total balance and symmetry when applying the theory. The thing to ask yourself is, what do you want to maximize? What do you want to minimize? And where do you want to shift the attention and balance? So when you minimize your figure spots that are oversized or too thin, and maximize your figure areas that are trim and proportioned. Shift attention away from problem areas and toward your assets. Balance the areas of the figure that are not in proportion using line, color, and focus. And remember that whether a particular spot is out of harmony depends not only on its actual dimensions, but also on its size in relation to the rest of the body. Those are all the things to consider. The bottom line, does your complete package do what you want it to? Do you want your hair and your face to be your focal point, or do you want your body to be your focal point? And I'm going to, up in the card section there, I'll put a list to my playlist on wardrobe styling and management for you. Now, do we have any questions with respect to this subject? Let's see. What do you mean? Let me just bring this up here, Sue. What do you mean when they keep insisting you will look old? Oh, you're talking about if you're deciding to embrace your gray hair. You know that the massive propaganda social engineering machine works very well because people buy into the fact that because social engineering has told them you will look old, then you will look old. And there's a certain faction of older women, and more so in days gone by, who once they hit a certain age, it was common practice, again through social engineering, that you sort of, okay, well, I'm older now, or I'm 50 now, or I'm 60 now, and it keeps moving up. So, no need to bother. It doesn't matter anymore. I mean, life has changed. My partner has passed away. I have grandchildren, or I'm all alone, or whatever. What's the point? So when you don't take care of how you present yourself to the world, naturally, people are going to think you look old because bottom line, we are older. If you have gray hair, except if you're a young femme fatale in her 20s and 30s, because, some start getting gray hair in their teens. When you're younger, it's a little bit different because you have, taut skin and full, thick lashes and brows and all the things that go with it. But when you get to the 45 plus, generally speaking, our eyebrows, become less and less and less, and they move back this way. Our lashes become thin and lose their luster and color. our hair becomes thinner. And again, I'm generally speaking here. But the thing is, especially if you're Caucasian on any end of that spectrum, light hair, light skin, dull brows and dull lashes, and thinning lips is not your best look. Now, there's all kinds of ways with makeup and with hair and styling without using a plethora of products, just simple streamlined approaches with a redesigned look. You can look really great. You can look great up into the last nails in the coffin. People they've bought into the idea that gray equals old, which it is. We are older, but when old is said in a negative way, that's what we don't like. It's not the being older, it's the feeling like you're an outcast. They'd send us out on ice floats these days, except there's not very many of those around. Older people were relegated in tribal communities and things. They became the elders, the wise people. They educated the young people, while the middle-aged people, their parents were out foraging and all that sort of thing. So we have a number of things that are part of the, oh, you're going to look old. That's where it's all coming from. And from my experience at being 72 and having gray hair and being older, is I don't get comments about looking old when I'm out. Now, when I don't bother, well, whatever they think, they're probably right, is the way I see it, and that's okay. Because I have enough confidence in myself that I know that I can whip out the brushes, both makeup and hair, and I can throw it all together and I'll be fine. In fact, I was out last night at a little event for one of our choral members who's leaving. And somebody said to me, "My God, you're beautiful." And it just about blew me away. Now, I'm only saying that because I don't believe me. I don't buy into that hook, line, and sinker. But I say that to show you that at 72, you can still get a comment, a positive one. So it's all in how you style. It's all in how you style. So I hope that answers your question, Sue. And Sue has another question here. Thank you. Okay, good. Love your lipstick. Thank you. It's Maybelline Superstay 24-hour, 1.5 layers of number 55, and number 110 over top is a highlighter. Okay, let's see if we have anything else. Okay. It seems like we're finished with this portion of our game show today. So now we're going to go on to questions. And I have some from some people that I've pulled up here. And one is from Nancy Norton. And she says, if MAC eyeshadow shown on a palette or separates combine to look like a palette, try to find it. Thank you. Okay, for you, Nancy, I don't quite understand, but I think this is what you're looking for. I understand that MAC doesn't make the pans of their Studio Fix powder foundation anymore. So you have to buy it in the compact. But as far as your eyeshadows are concerned, they sell these quad packs that you can put any color in that you want, and they're magnetized. So, and you can see the little grooves there. You can take them in and out. They're magnetized so they hold in, but if you need to change, you know what it's like when you buy, for those that have, you buy a quad pack and you, or you buy, some of those long, what do they call them? There's a whole bunch of eyeshadows. There's like 12 or some of them are 18. Complete waste of money. Because 9 times out of 10, you only use maybe 2, 3, 4 of those. The odd time you might use the odd color. So it's a complete waste. Whereas this is very cost effective, streamlined, and eco responsible. Because the ones you use the most, you can simply replace those. So, and you can buy the pans, which I believe are almost half the price of buying the regular eyeshadow that comes in its own container. So hope that answers your question. And Jude Doolittle, Sharon, would you please tell me what 2 shades of eyeshadow you have suggested? Thank you. I'm not really sure I understand that question, Jude, but I'm going to go back to this picture here because it shows everything really well. Not that one. Not that one. Ah, this is the one. Yes. These are colors that I went to MAC and I test drove a number of them. And these are the colors for those of us that are over 45 and especially having gray hair. These are such neutral, great colors for everybody. You can mix any of these together and come out with your own customized look. Today, as a matter of fact, I'm wearing the print or print dupe eyeshadow for my brows. I'm wearing the Carbon and the Brun together for eyeliner. And I'm wearing just the Brun underneath for the lower liner. And I'm wearing the Coquette for the crease of my eye. Now, for those who are lighter in coloring, you know, where you have quite light brows and that thing, sort of thing, I think the Scene, which is the one to your extreme right, and the Omega. The Omega is like a lighter version of the Coquette, and the Scene is a lighter version of the print. Mixing the Scene and the Omega together for brows, for, you know, that sort of thing, for under the eye, whatever works. And mixing the Coquette with the Brun or the print, whatever it is you want to come up with. These are the colors, generally speaking, that will work for most people in the neutral, lighter range and to darker, to Mediterranean. These colors will work well too, but then you want to get into a few other colors for that skin color. When you use, and here's the thing, when you use neutral colors on your eyes, because you're looking at it to bring the strength of the lashes and the brows out, it's not about color, it's about architecture, and it's about weight and line. That's really what it's about. When you put all that together, then you can wear a lighter shade of lipstick, a darker shade of lipstick, any shade of lipstick you want. You can go cool, you can go warm, you can go coral, and it all works because you've got the basic fundamentals of your eye makeup done. And this is something that can be done fairly quick every day. Less than 10 minutes, can be done quick, and it looks good all the time with everything. Now, I will be doing something coming up in the future about different colored eyeshadows, but I recommend just for special events or a special, a wardrobe piece or something like that. This is your basic stuff that's going to service you so much better than anybody else. And again, for the 45 plus group. Our next question is from Mary Beth Richardson. I haven't colored in 3 years and not one day of regret. Good for you. I'd like to know what hair products to use that are non-yellowing. Thanks for the suggestions. You're welcome, Mary Beth. If you can find a shampoo that doesn't have parabens in it, that's a good thing. One of the things that I do, and I never have a problem with yellowing or anything like that, I use baking soda. I take a couple of teaspoons of baking soda in about a half or 3/4 of a cup of water, and squeeze shampoo in, like squeeze, something like that. I shake that all up, put it in a container that I can apply with. I do that once a week. And having that baking soda in there does two things. One, if you do have any yellowing, then it will remove it. Number two, it clarifies your hair. It's better than buying a clarifying shampoo. It cleans it out just as good as any clarifying shampoo. And when your hair squeaks, that's when you know it's clean. And number three, it brightens your hair. Now, the other thing to avoid non-yellowing is to make sure that if you use any heat tools, they're on a lower setting and you don't hold them in place. You move it along the shaft of the hair. I've got a video coming up where I show how I do this modern day page boy look and how I blow dry my hair. And when I do it, I just blow it all. I don't hold the blower on any one spot too long, and I use a cool setting. So all of those things, Beth, will help with keeping your hair from yellowing. Hope that helps. And our next question is from Hera Pai Hopa. I hope I pronounced that okay. I'm looking forward to this transition and company of you all. Would love to know how I could hurry this process. I read somewhere about using baking soda, but not sure that it would apply. My stance on the whole transitioning perspective is let it happen naturally. There is absolutely no need to rush the issue. We let a flower, when a flower is planted in the spring, we let it have its time to grow. When we are pregnant, we need 9 months for our embryo to grow into a beautiful baby. When our gray hair is emerging, let it emerge now. There's a number of hairdressers and people who would disagree with me on this fact that you can color your way to gray hair freedom. Well, I don't subscribe to that because I've seen and heard way too many disasters with that approach. And the other thing is, you don't really know what your hair color pattern or color of gray you're going to have. So if you do highlights as an example, then it's going to, it might work. It has worked for some, but oh my, the expense, because you really have to bleach the hair to get it to kind of like the platinum-y kind of gray color that you might want to get. And the other thing is, it's happened with some people and they've had to cut their hair all off short. And if you don't suit it or you don't like it, then you've got a double whammy of waiting for something to grow out. The other thing is, when I hear the term blorange for the end of the ends of your hair, it's how shall I say? It served you well at one point, right? Whatever color you were coloring your hair, it served you well. Well, it's now dying away. Anything that's dying away, would you disrespect it? If a person was dying away slowly from something, you don't disrespect it. You give it love. Well, why would we feel the same way about our hair? And I know maybe it's a stretch for some, for sure, but it's a different way of looking at something. And to try to change that color or strip that color is a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Let it be. You will get to the point when it's about 4 or 5 inches of growth, you will start to have this incredibly wonderful reversed ombre look going on. So there's all kinds of treasures. And I'm a big, big proponent of journaling. And when you journal your gray-haired journey and take pictures, every month, you would be absolutely amazed at what you discover about yourself in the journey. One of the main questions to ask yourself, if you feel you've got to do it fast, you've got to get rid of the color, the blorange, or you've got to cover the demarcation line or whatever, ask yourself why that's so important. What's the rush? Why? And as far as those who may be in business or they're presenting to a crowd or whatever, I can tell you, not only from my own personal experience, but other professional women's experience, that had nothing to do with anything. People don't pay attention to that at all. What they pay attention to is how you look within the first 7 seconds. If your hair is styled in a way that's groomed well for you and styled for your face shape and hair and all that sort of thing, and your makeup has been redesigned and well honed to suit you, they're going to be looking at you, the person, and your message. They're not going to for 1 second think that you don't take care of yourself or that you're not well groomed or anything like that. In fact, some will think, whoa, this person's got some courage and some strength about them. So again, it all depends on how you look at things. And it can be that, you show people that you have the confidence to be who you are, presenting in the best way that you can. So I hope that helps answer your question. So is there any other questions we have here from any of our players? Let's see. Mary Ellen, Sue, Beverly Wainwright, enjoyed very much. Reminders for life. Thank you. I'm glad you liked. Good morning. I'm sorry. I can't spell the name. Betty Sparker, great tips. Sue, thank you. Okay. Let's bring this one up. I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name. I'm 55 and small framed. What is the best wardrobe for me? I'm only 5'2". Well, a couple of things that would work for you is to dress all in one color. Don't break up any line, because having one color makes you look longer. When you cut off, you shorten. So that's the best thing to do. And if you're small framed, what are your and also here's another thing. Keep in mind, keeping your shoes in the same color family as your ensemble is a good thing, because when you change your shoe color, then you break the line. And here's something about shoes. I know it's been very popular for the last few years. High strapped shoes, where they have a strap around the ankle and that sort of thing. Cuts you off, makes your legs look shorter. The classic standard pump will always come back in style. Always, always, always. It goes out, it comes back. It never really goes out. Why? Because it helps to lengthen the leg, it's clean lined, and it doesn't get in the way of your ensemble. So single colored dressing and including your shoes will help a great deal. I hope that helps. Okay, let me see. Mary Ellen. I'm 6'2" and not thin. Do you recommend short or chin shoulder length hair? I have thin, due to health issues, straight baby fine hair, so I usually wear wigs. Okay, thanks, Mary Ellen. I think that when we have fuller girth, it's better to have our hair shoulder length or shorter, because when we're fuller of girth, our hair tends to sit on the shoulders and on our back, on the round of our back, and it comes in and then it goes out like that rather than falling straight down. Our body gets in the way of having it fall straight down. So what does that do? It accents our body frame. So it's better to do that. If you want and love longer hair, great, but it's better to wear it up in some fashion where you're not depending on it falling, sitting on the round of your back as it's hanging down. Longer hair, whether it's curly or whether it's straight, it looks best when it is able to hang straight. Even the curls, they can hang, free of being pushed out of the way. Does that make any sense? And depending on your hair pattern, Mary Ellen, instead of a wig, maybe you would want to consider a topper. They've made some wonderful, excuse me, folks, excuse me. There. They've made some great advances in hair toppers these days, or hair helpers. And there's a couple of pages on Facebook, hair help sisters or whatever. There's 2 or 3 of them that are quite good. Sorry, I can't think of them right off the top of my head, but if you want to PM me, I'd be happy to share them with you. And I've seen some, oh, I'm so sorry. I've seen some that just you absolutely couldn't tell. And what I love about the toppers as opposed to a wig is they're much cooler, especially in hot, humid weather. And you can wear them up. Like if you want to wear your hair up, you can't tell it's a topper. I think it's one of the best things for anybody who's got thinning hair. And here's the other thing. Instead of trying to deal with a demarcation line, get yourself a topper that goes with the hair that's down at the bottom, and wear that until your gray hair is long enough, and then get a gray hair topper when the time is right. And you don't have to have thin hair to wear a topper either. And because they come in synthetics, I mean really good synthetics, heat-friendly synthetics now, where you don't want to hold a curling iron while you go have a coffee, but you want to just run it through. You can, and the best way to curl or straighten heat-friendly synthetics is with a steamer. So there's lots of stuff available on how to do that. That would be my recommendation to you, Mary Ellen. And I have to tell you, folks, when the time comes, and it seems to be moving along, Mama's going to get herself a topper. In fact, I have one, and I think I did a video on it where I cut bangs into the topper that I received, and I use that for when I want to wear bangs. And, it just makes it real easy. So I hope that answers your question, Mary Ellen. Okay, let's see, what else do we have here? Beverly Wainwright. Very interesting. People say we look older with gray hair. However, look how many young women bleach their hair still today. An excellent point, Beverly. An excellent point. Yes, it's very popular and it is trendy for sure. And like all trends, it will stop. So, it would be nice if it, became a color that was acceptable in society. And when I say acceptable, I mean acceptable from a standpoint where it's like thought of with respect and admiration. So, but that's a really, really, really good point. Thank you, Beverly. Thank you, Mary Ellen. Please remember to give Sharon a thumbs up on this video. Thank you. Yes. The algorithms in YouTube and stuff. Oh, it would really be helpful if you did that, ladies. If you like what you heard or saw or anything, that I would be very appreciative. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Gara Jackson. Good morning. This is Gara. Sounds like Sarah, but with a G. Gara, happy to be here. Well, I'm happy you're here too, Gara. And Mary Ellen says, thank you, Sharon. I live in Alabama. Oh, yeah. And it's very, very humid. Well, yes. Then I think, Mary Ellen, you will be so much better served with a hair topper in all kinds of ways. So, let me see. Is there any other questions that anybody has? I don't think I've missed any. No, it doesn't look like it. Well, that being the case then, remember, if you're watching the playback of this, to post your questions in the comments, and I will gather them, and we will, and I will answer them at the next live stream, which will be in 2 weeks. And if you have any other, questions about stuff, remember to click on the file on the main page, and you can either search for what you're looking for, or you can click on the playlist. Another page will come up and show you what you need. and then you can get exactly what you want. Now, please like, share, and subscribe, as Mary Ellen requested. If you want a Going Gray and Loving It, Pay It Forward, Make Better, I do those on that page or on my Sharon Danley Beauty page. So you just make a request, and there's a little article there on how to present that. 2-minute tips, please like, share, and subscribe. And I should let you know, I have dusted off an advocacy channel that I started a few years ago for legal purposes. And because our world is getting into the mess that it is, I have a strong political and advocate background. So I've revived that channel, and I'm starting to post videos there of how can we combat the world. Anyway, for those who are interested, that's Sharon Danley Advocacy on YouTube will get you there. Okay, so for this week's quote, as external beauty diminishes, internal beauty brightens by what we do for others, how we share our skills, how we forgive more easily, and how we love mightily. So, thank you very much, ladies. A pleasure spending time with you once again this week. Remember, next week is going to be a video, and I think it's how to do the page boy bob. And the following week, stay tuned for Live at 11. We'll be back with another live stream. Thank you. Mwah. Have a wonderful balance of the day, and we'll see you next time.